Good Thursday afternoon, everyone. I'm WSAZ's Kimberly Keggy. Thank you so much for joining me here in the WSAZ Plus studios. It seems like we're talking a lot this way this week. That's because we know we are looking ahead. The next 48 hours, very crucial for our area as we are expecting a winter storm to hit. And certainly the preparations are underway. Of course, that goes for road crews, power companies, even services that deliver to seniors, those meal delivery services. Let's go ahead and pull up some video to show you as we're talking this afternoon. It's certainly been very busy, and we know that this is a time that is certainly very tricky for a lot of people. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up some video. This is video from Charleston, West Virginia, as road crews were prepping there this afternoon, as we are expected to see that winter storm. You heard Nicholas and I talking a little bit earlier this afternoon about that storm, what the snow totals are, where we could see some of the hardest hit areas. And really, Nicholas was talking about really the trickiest part of this storm is those models have changed so drastically in the last couple of days. He said, but this afternoon he felt very confident in the data that has been given from the models. And you'll get to hear his forecast coming up in our 4 o'clock hour as we hit the news. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about those preparations that are underway. I want to bring in Joe Arnold from the Kentucky Electric Cooperatives to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to go ahead and bring him up, and let's see. Here we go. All right, Joe. Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Good to see you again, Kimberly.
Good to see you. So Joe Arnold joining me from the Kentucky Electric Cooperatives here to talk a little bit about that winter storm that's approaching. Joe, what are you guys most concerned about? What kind of preps are underway for you?
Well, the number one concern for any electric utility is going to be ice more than anything else. And so we're going to, even though those snow totals are just pretty astounding in and of themselves, ice is going to be the number one concern for any electric utility. Now, Kentucky Electric Cooperatives, we're the association which supports all 24 of the distribution cooperatives that from Paducah to Pikeville, in your viewing area as well. Grayson RECC, Big Sandy, among others. And so we're hopeful, at least for your viewing area, that perhaps the ice accumulations will not be as great. But some of our co-ops in the southeastern portion of the state, all along the Tennessee border, we are very concerned right now about the forecast for any kind of ice accumulation that approaches 1/4 of an inch or more can ultimately be catastrophic. And so that's what we're keeping a very close eye on right now. The preparations, we're always in a state of readiness, in terms of you're always prepared for anything to happen any day. And so the crews are ready for that. Right now, frankly, many of those line workers are preparing their homes. They're going to be probably away from home for a few days to take care of some of these outages in some of the areas and making sure they're geared up, and they're going to be able to stay warm with those extreme cold temperatures coming up over the weekend and into next week as well.
I think that's something to always keep in mind, right? We want the power restoration to happen as quickly as it can, but we do have to remember those linemen and, their contractor crews are often away from their homes. And so they want to get back to home too as quickly as they can. Joe, is there something in the forecast? You mentioned the concern for ice. Is there things that you guys are kind of rolling out, doing equipment checks, preparations? What are your plans as we kind of have that calm before the storm comes?
It's an opportunity for everyone, isn't it? Really, it's an opportunity for line workers as well as you at home for your own emergency preparedness kits. In some ways, that's what we have. I mean, you're going to check to make sure it's just basic maintenance in some regards. Tires inflated properly. You're completely gassed up. All your fluids and everything have been completely filled and checked on those vehicles. But after that, you really have to wait and see what the weather gives you to deal with. At that point, there's only so much you can do to prepare as far as the weather is concerned. We're blessed to have committed crews, people who are ready to do all this and work very long hours. But I will tell you that it's safety is the paramount concern, but it's in two different ways. Certainly for our crews and for our workers, people who are going to be out there in the cold and doing it. But just as much as member-owned cooperatives, we're very concerned about the people of Kentucky and your entire viewing area. For what this extreme cold is going to mean, especially if it's a situation where power is out. And we have to tell you, Kimberly, this is a reminder, we talked about this in the past, really the number one killer during extreme cold weather events actually is carbon monoxide poisoning. When people who might use alternative heating sources or a generator too close to the house, and that's an odorless, gas, that can kill you, and it can overcome you pretty quickly. So please, 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 we know you want to keep warm, but please be careful about how you apply those any kind of alternative heating devices.
I think it's such a stark reminder of the seriousness when we do expect to see those winter storms. And Joe, you mentioned, safety is paramount in this situation. Are there What are kind of the steps that you guys have to wait, your crews have to wait and see? Sometimes we fear, you think about people that work on the snow plows. Obviously, they have to go out in the storm. What kind of is your protocol? Can you explain that to some people at home?
Frankly, with the ice and snow events, certainly you have to make sure you can make it to point A to point B safely, and
Right.
the right places are. But for the most part, it's not the same as like in a tornado situation. You're not going to go out in the middle of a tornado warning when that twister is hitting. Snow and ice are a little different. They can begin to assess the situation and see what's going on, especially. Let's say a tree comes down on lines because of heavy snow or ice or things like that. You can at least begin some of those efforts to get those cleared. But safety again, driving in this stuff. I mean, it's going to be some of these snow totals. And I don't know what the latest that you're seeing there are, but we're talking about, upwards of from a foot or 2 feet of snow in some areas of Kentucky. And that's going to result in some dangerous and treacherous driving conditions on top of everything else. I will also add, and you appreciate this, but you serve much of the mountains, right? Mountains are difficult to serve with utilities on a blue sky day.
Yeah.
It's difficult to access some areas. Now you're going to compound that with the possibility of a foot or more of snow, and then maybe some ice on top of that. It is has to be slow sometimes.
Hmm.
They're going to be expedient as possible, but I appreciate your call for patience with some of these things. Just know that the co-op crews who are working on restoring power also their own families are affected by this because they live and
Hmm.
work in their own communities,
Yep.
and they're going to be just as anxious to get the lights back on as quickly as you are.
I think that's such a great reminder for all of us, because we can tend to get caught up maybe in what's happening in our own home, and so it's
Sure.
a really good reminder. And I'm so glad that you helped address some of those challenges. That was actually my next question for you. I was saying,
Mhm.
oh, what are we looking at? And so it's good to know that our area is unique in that aspect. Joe, before I let you go this afternoon, do you have any tips for people? You mentioned go ahead and kind of using this time now to prepare for possible potential outages. What would be a tip or recommendation that you may give someone?
Well, we are blessed, aren't we, with the weather meteorologists, to people who work in. We actually have a chance rather than getting hit out of the blue with this. So that means, number one, for people who are medically fragile, people who rely upon electricity for their health. If you're in that situation, please make sure to look up your backup plan, your friends, your family, about where else you might be able to go with this. As I said before, and just stock up on your emergency kit, have non-perishable foods, have water nearby, and then beyond that, just I guess just keep watching here. And oh, I would also say, no matter who your utility is,
Hmm.
um, download any kind of app now while you have signal. Make sure your phone is 100% charged the entire time, because you don't want to be caught when it's done on 25% when the lights go out at that point as well. So this is a great opportunity to do a test run, throughout today and Friday before it hits. And the best news of all, Kimberly, would be that
Hmm.
we escape some of this and the worst goes elsewhere. It is not going to hurt us though to be prepared regardless.
Right. I think that's such some great tips. I know that's something that my family, we're doing that tonight. We're going to go ahead and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Where's the flashlights and where's the extra
Yeah.
batteries that you need? It's never too early to get ahead of that. So, Joe, thank you so much for joining us here on the WSAZ Plus desk. I certainly appreciate it. I know you guys are busy trying to prepare, so we appreciate you taking some time to chat with us this afternoon.
Stay safe.
All right, thank you. You too, Joe. So that was Joe Arnold. He's with the Kentucky Electric Cooperatives, which help serve power companies in the area. The ones in our region, Big Sandy Rural Electric Cooperative, as well as Grayson Rural Electric Cooperative. Those linemen, those technicians, they are certainly going to be keeping a close eye. And really, that's kind of the sentiment. I think that everybody is sharing a close eye. This has really been the buzz of the week when we're thinking about the winter storm and how it may impact us. And so So I want to go ahead and send us back to regular programming so that you can get the very latest from meteorologist Nicholas Snyder as he has been tracking that forecast. He shared some brand new data with me this afternoon just about an hour ago. So he has some new totals and what we could see. He said, you know what, we've really fine-tuned the forecast. We're just 48 hours away now, and so that is something that we are certainly going to be watching very closely. So I certainly appreciate you joining me here, and of course, we will be sharing the latest when it comes to resources, warming shelters, what power companies are doing, where maybe even restoration efforts should those potential power outages happen. So, you know, if you don't have it, this is something I mentioned earlier, but go ahead and download that WSAZ weather app. You heard Joe also mention, you know, download your power company's weather, or not weather app, but their app itself, excuse me, and make sure that you have the latest up-to-date information. Our team of meteorologists do a great job about sending out forecasts, sending out area-specific forecast. That was something Nicholas and I talked about this afternoon. So if you didn't get a chance to join us earlier, you can go back on WSAZ Plus and watch that. And of course, in our early evening newscast, the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock, as well as 10 and 11, they are going to be updating us there. So I certainly appreciate you joining me here, and we'll send it back to you. I hope you guys have a great Thursday and be safe this weekend, no matter your plans. Certainly, thank you for joining me.